Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to City of Quesnel Council meeting number 5 for Tuesday, February 18th. My name is Ron Paull. I'm the mayor. Tonight we have regrets from Councillors Elliott and Vic. And I know that we have Councillor Runge on Zoom. Do we know if we have Councillor Roodenburg yet? We think that she may chime in late, and we've got to pay attention to that because we may be short of quorum, but we're okay right now. So I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize that we meet on the traditional territory of the LHTAKO DENE traditional territory. Now I would like to get a motion to approve the agenda. We have one late item of correspondence, and it'll come up under M1, and that is a letter from the BC Farmers Market Coupon Nutrition Program, and they're requesting a letter of support. At this point, I would like to get a motion to approve the agenda as it is changed. Councillor Goulet is moving, seconding. Councillor Roodenburg, you're on. Thank you. You're seconding. Okay. So are we all in favor of that? Okay, all in favor. Carried. There's one little change to the regular, pardon me, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Now I'm looking for a motion to adopt the minutes of the last regular meeting held February 4. And before I call for that motion, there is one little correction in there. Under attendance, it should say Deputy City Manager, Director of Corporate and Financial Services, Carrie Bolton. So if I could get a mover for adopting the minutes of the council meeting. Moved Councillor Runge, seconded Councillor Roodenburg. All right, are we all in favor of that? Carried. Okay, now we do have the Quesnel ambassadors here. They're the next item on the agenda, but we're just going to hold off because the sashes that we are going to be presenting to those ambassadors haven't arrived yet, but we're expecting them to arrive shortly. So when I get the high sign from Kara, the coordinator, we'll move over to that. So we'll hold off on item E. Next item is delegations. And tonight we have the Quesnel Women's Resource Center. Emily Neilsen is the administrative coordinator. So Emily, if you could come up and make your presentation. And I do know that you have one or two other representatives with you, so the floor is yours. And Council, there is quite an extensive package that was circulated with your agenda if you want to sort of tag along.
Hello. So, here, I'm just trying to, there we go. So the Quesnel Women's Resource Center is committed to providing information, resources, support, and counseling for women to assist them with life choices. Our purpose is to work together to create a world that is free from violence, inequality, and oppression, where all women have access to equal rights, universal childcare, and the right to equal pay for work of equal value. The Quesnel Women's Resource Center is a feminist collective committed to promoting the rights of all women and providing women-centered services in our community. Since 1980, the Quesnel Women's Resource Center has a history of a range of projects in the community, including all that are listed there. We did have the Luna Clinic. It provided women's health exams in a safe setting. It was an extremely important program as there's no referrals necessary, tailored to women's needs, and women felt more safe in an inclusive environment. There's been a really high demand to bring this service back, especially with our healthcare system. I'm just trying to. Yeah, please. Oh, back.
So I'm able to speak a little bit on the Luna Clinic. We did receive funding for reproductive and sexual health services with the Luna Clinic. It was a program, again, free of charge to women in the community that needed to access it, and it included feminine hygiene products, birth control, and also, I believe, PAP and smear testing. And so those services are no longer available. And so women who have sort of precarious lifestyles or living on the streets don't have access to that resource, and we would see many folks drop in. And so now, and we've received many, many phone calls, inquiries, people dropping in about this program, about this service, and it's no longer available. So that's a huge gap in the community. We do have some healthcare services community-wide, but not through us, and I think that's been a huge gap just in terms of accessibility for the women in the community, security and safety, not necessarily having to go through the Northern Health system. We did have nurse practitioners, we did have medical professionals in the Luna Clinic. I think it was just a way to provide a service for those folks that maybe necessarily didn't feel safe accessing the regular hospital system for a number of reasons, institutional racism, I think other barriers that came up. So that's just a key thing that we'd like to flag in terms of some of the gaps, and we'll go through them as well. I think our next slide will talk more about the overall programs and services we have at the Resource Centre. I know lots of folks are a bit confused sometimes about the Quesnel Women's Resource Centre. We're not a MATA house. They're an amazing organization, but we're a little bit different.
I just want to double back. I forgot our goals. So the Quesnel Women's Resource Center's goals are to provide women with access to resources, counseling, and self-help programs that will assist them with life choices, to actively address all forms of violence against women at all levels of the community, to work towards the elimination of poverty, to challenge sexism and all forms of discrimination against women, including racism, homophobia, and transphobia at all levels of the community, and help women achieve their rightful place in society, and to enhance the status of women by addressing issues of importance to women such as access to high quality, universal, accessible childcare, and the right for equal pay for equal work of equal value, and affordable, safe housing. And just women-centered services I wanted to speak a little bit about, because some people might not know. They incorporate consideration of the individual woman's right to autonomy, self-determination, as well as her choice, control, and access to continuity of care. It focuses on the woman, considers the woman's physical, emotional, social, spiritual, and cultural needs, promotes choice, supports the woman's right to make decisions about her care, builds a partnership, involves the woman in a collaborative relationship with her healthcare providers, and respects the woman's rights, values the woman's right to control her health information and preferences. Okay, let's continue. So our programs and services, we provide drop-in services. The drop-in program plays an important role in the community by providing a safe haven for women needing connection and/or support with the challenges of life, which often coincides with the still presenting still present gender inequality issues in society and rising numbers of women experiencing isolation or abuse. Our center offers an inviting place to sit and reflect and have someone to talk to. We also provide kind of hygiene care packages and food, and with services like Nope and now CSUN closing their doors, we're getting a lot more people coming to our door for services that we can't always supply them with. I talked about women-centered stuff. Okay, so outreach support services provides counseling, advocacy, and support to people in our community. The program provides information about resources in the community and facilitates peer support groups for women with a history of domestic abuse and violence. So our workers actually go out and help. They'll drive women to appointments. They'll go to rural or remote areas to make sure that women are getting counseling and the help that they need. Referrals, assistance with filling out applications. So those are things like PWDs, which is persons with disabilities, legal documents and things like that, housing applications.
And I might just add that on a daily basis, we have women coming in looking for food support, transportation support, housing needs, sometimes emergency funds to get a hotel room, also coming in to do laundry, asking if we have shower facilities, which we don't. And I think I said emergency food, which we're not really set up for that, and we use what available budget we can to provide what we do, but it has been a growing need year over year.
Public education programs, so we have workers that go out and facilitate programs, trauma-informed violence prevention. We have grief programs and workshops, and LGBTQ2S support groups. We have a lending library, and the Respectful Relationship Program runs in partnership with School District 28. The goal is to reduce the incidence of violence in youth relationships by helping them develop the skills and attitudes needed for healthy and respectful relationships. Okay. We also have community counseling, which offers counseling to adult individuals who need support with mental health issues, stress, addictions, and other daily life challenges. We also do a lot of referrals for treatment centers. We provide one-on-one counseling, Zoom counseling, telephone, group counseling, outreach, and community integration services with the goal of reaching undeserved populations. Okay. We're involved in a second stage housing project. We're still in the developing phases with BC Housing. It will be located on the west side, and this is for women who are escaping abuse, and they can, women and their children will be able to live here. It'll be a 27-unit building, and yeah, the construction is set to begin September 2025.
And maybe for those folks that aren't aware, second stage means so maybe women have and their children have gone to emergency housing such as Amata. They can only stay for so long. And then the second stage is this sort of semi-permanent housing for, I believe, up to 2 years. And then the goal is to help find more sustainable housing within the community. And that is a huge need in Quesnel. And so really excited to be working on this project with the community.
We put on a lot of events, and Take Back the Night is very important. Everyone is welcome to join to commemorate the missing and murdered women from our community and participate in a peaceful candlelight walk through downtown to raise awareness that assault and murder can happen to anyone at any time. It's an event where everyone is invited to be part of the solution, part of the end of abuse and violence. It is a place to take a stand and break the silence. Together, we can take back the night. It takes place on the third Friday in September.
Yeah, and it's a signature event, I would say, of the Quesnel Women's Resource Centre. We usually do have support of the community when we do march through town. And so, again, an annual event that has a lot of significance and importance.
The Women's Memorial Monument. In September 2007, a group of women from the Quesnel Women's Resource Centre came together to work towards getting a memorial monument built in Quesnel that would honor local missing and murdered women, as well as all women who have been victims of violence in our community. We are up to 13 women have lost their lives to violence from in our community, and additional 5 are still missing and under suspicious circumstances. Pardon me. Okay. So we have several committees in our collective, which is a group of women that come together. Some are employed with the Quesnel Women's Resource Centre, and some are community members. Some have been a part of the Women's Centre since its conception. We work to enhance, so Seat at the Table is one of those committees. Works to enhance the status of women and address inequities faced by women, collaborates with women to strengthen our voices, seeks to have access to seats at decision-making tables, organizes events and conferences. For example, Women in Leadership, which is coming up March 8th, and it will talk about leadership and election forums. Do you want to?
Yeah, and so Seat at the Table, so myself, Maureen in the back, and Emily, we are part of the Seat at the Table committee for the Women's Resource Centre, and really it's an opportunity for us to leverage our voices and be a bit strategic around how we can work better with Quesnel, with the community, with the city, to meet some of these needs and address some of the gaps. We're really looking at how to advocate better within the community for what we're seeing on the day-to-day at the Women's Resource Centre, what we're hearing from women with lived experience. And we'd like to really have a seat at the table. That's why the committee is called that, so we can work in meaningful partnership with those that have decision-making power. And we'd like to be part of that decision-making partnership.
Yes. So some of those needs within our community would be, and again, we've just lost another kind of drop-in center. So a drop-in center that would include trained staff that deal with like marginalized group of people who, just who have that training, that has maybe laundry facilities and things like that, lockers, showers, and life skills programs. We do work a lot with Work BC, but things like being able to cook with what they have, being able to shop, people don't have these skills anymore. We definitely are lacking easy access to drug and alcohol treatment centers. When someone needs treatment, they need it that day, and it's almost impossible to do that for people. The bus systems they're really crazy, and it's just, for them to succeed in that, they need to be able to go to treatment that day. A low barrier women's shelter would be really appropriate, as somewhere like Seasons House, they're maybe put at risk of violence, and I believe women need their own space. And Amata House, as wonderful as it is more high barrier because they have children there, and we're running out of space. Safe, affordable housing is obviously a huge need that most people do know about, and access to women-specific health care, similar to our Luna Clinic like we used to have. and if anyone has any questions.
Okay, so you're calling for questions now? Okay, I'm going to open up the floor to questions from council. Go ahead, Councillor Goulet.
Thank you very much for the report. Very informative, and being in the community, I understand Amana Women's and the difference. So thank you very much for that clarity. I think it's a fantastic program. My question is, are you seeing a huge uptake in drop-ins coming in more than you've had over the time? Like, are they increasing, and they're more vulnerable and they're more susceptible to it? What would be a number that you might see on maybe as a drop-in? Just a rough.
Well, before it would have been maybe 2 or 3 people, and now it's upwards of 13. Not every day, but we do keep track, and that number is increasing, like 13 to 15, and that's almost, it's a large number of people, and they are very much the marginalized group of vulnerable people.
Okay, thank you, Councillor McKelvey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the report, ladies. It's very informative. I'm happy to see that we're going to be getting a second stage housing project. That's very exciting. I guess my question is the Luna clinic that you are saying that has been called back. People really want that. Is it a funding issue that it's not available now?
I think what it was is Northern Health supplied a nurse practitioner, and we couldn't afford to pay the wage of that practitioner, and Northern Health paid for them to come, and they stopped doing that.
Yeah, we're sorry to hear that too, and I think women that knew us for that particular service really felt the loss as well, because now it becomes a bit more precarious in terms of where they're getting their reproductive health, and it is a health issue, it's a human rights issue, it's a women's issue to be able to access these services.
And now lots of people don't have family doctors, and we do have the Quesnel Women's Clinic, but you need a referral from your doctor. So they have nowhere to go, and then they're on the phone, or, they have a lot of, just waiting and waiting and waiting for.
Yeah, I'm sure that this program would certainly fill a lot of the gaps. Thank you, ladies.
Okay, thank you, Councillor McKelvey. I'm going to Councillor Roodenburg next.
Thank you. And I apologize for not being able to be there, but I'm still down here in Vancouver with my husband. Perhaps if I can ask you to clarify, when you say you want a seat at the table, what does that look like to you? Just so people understand. I mean, I know what you mean, but can you be really clear to council what that means?
Sure. We would actually really love to work in partnership with the city. We would love to be engaged and brought in as a partner when decisions are being made that impact members of the community, particularly women and families. I think we can bring in a perspective from a feminist lens around what's going on in the community, because we see it day to day, and we have a lot of amazing counselors and staff and volunteers that work with women and their families around what's going on. And it's not to say that the folks here don't understand the challenges and issues, but I think we can bring a particular perspective and that lens, and maybe provide a bit of advisory support, or maybe some considerations that you hadn't thought of in terms of what could be the impact, or what are some ways that we could work together, or what are some things that maybe we hadn't thought about, to really make sure that programs and initiatives are successful, and they're meeting folks where they're at, and they're doing the thing that they're meant to do. So not only would it be more cost effective, it really actually addresses the needs and gaps and works for the people that it's meant to work for.
So I appreciate that. And I'd like to think that perhaps moving forward as a council, that we start using that lens too when we talk about certain issues, that we go, should we have somebody else at the table? And likewise, right? If you see something that's coming up that perhaps you don't think that we're seeing happening, please don't ever hesitate to contact, city, to make sure that we have that particular lens on when we start to make decisions. So thank you very much for your presentation, ladies. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, and we would love to have a really strong relationship with the city, and I'm not sure if that's a conversation around who could be a point of contact, or maybe there's a way that we could be a little bit better integrated. The purpose of this meeting was to give you a bit of an introduction to the Women's Resource Center and hopefully what Seat at the Table can do and how we might be able to bring together or address some of these issues that are coming forth. And we know that can't be answered now, but just a chance to maybe begin the conversation and open that door and see what can be done, because we really want to support the women and children and families in this community, and that also impacts the men, of course. And I think that there's a lot of work that can be done. There's a lot of good intention, I think a lot of momentum to see this come forth.
Okay, thank you for that, and thank you, Councillor Roodenburg. I don't know if there's, really any any opportunity for your group to interact and with our accessibility committee, and I know that the accessibility committee basically looks at physical accessibility, but I could see that there may be some opportunity for some collaboration on the edges, so that's something that maybe we could talk about down the road. Is there anyone else from council? Okay. Well, thank you for your presentation, and we look forward to, as Councillor Roodenburg said, please reach out, and we're here, and we would be very interested in working with you and doing some brainstorming and looking at filling some of those gaps that we know that are there. So thank you for your presentation, and now I'm going to ask if the ambassadors are ready yet.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, they are still waiting. So what we're going to do then is we're going to now move to item G, items arising from previous special closed meetings. We have nothing under that file, no unfinished business. Committee reports, the February 5 Financial Sustainability and Audit Committee Chair Summary. Director Bolton is going to present that report on behalf of Councillor Vick.
Thank you very much. So this is to report on our meeting we had February 5th. So first, the Finance Department just gave an update. We're busy with year end, and of course, we just sent out utility notices last week, so everybody should be getting them in the mail. We talked more about the budget and some various issues that are going on, and we also looked at the budget survey results. Unfortunately, this year we only got 189 surveys compared to 276 last year, so we talked a bit about how we can improve that next year. But nonetheless, from the surveys received, we did observe that 73% of the respondents were satisfied or somewhat satisfied with city services, which is up from the previous year. And we also asked how we should balance the budget, and 36.5% said increase property taxes moderately to sustain current services, 28.5% increase taxes to maintain and improve service levels, while 19% said reduce service levels to maintain current tax levels, 8% said eliminate services to maintain reduce current tax levels, and 8% had other options that they picked. And that was it, and we continue working on the operating budget.
Okay, thank you, Director Bolton. Is there any questions coming from council on that report? Go ahead, Councillor Goulet.
Thank you, and thanks for that report. I just want to ask, was there, diving into the 189 versus the 276, do we know, is there any indication, or people just weren't taking the survey, or they just missed the survey, do you think, or was there a rationale?
We're not sure. We did it at a slightly different timing this year. We did it before Christmas last year, and this year it was after Christmas just because of the things going on with council. So whether that was part of it, I think the time period was a bit shorter, but we're definitely going to see what we can do to get more people to participate.
Okay, thank you for that. Anyone else before we move along here? Okay, so now we have council reports and discussion items. January 24, 2025, Cariboo Regional District Board highlights. I'm going to go to Councillor Roodenburg for that report.
Thank you. You'll see the highlights presented before you. I will draw your attention about halfway through the report on the advocacy priorities that have been discussed for meeting at the of the North Central local government officials as they move forward throughout the year. You will notice that mental health supports for elected officials was mentioned, changes to employment standards to allow elected officials to take unpaid leave, et cetera, and then secure provincial commitment for the Quesnel Interconnector project, which I think is one of those ones that is very near and dear to our heart. They also talked a little bit about the review of the agricultural land reserve boundaries and how that affects certain pieces in and around the Cariboo Regional District, and review the size limits for accessory dwellings on ALR land. So these are just pieces of ideas that they're talking about to advocate as we move forward in the year. I'm not going to talk about much else here. If there are any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Okay, sorry. Okay, Council, questions? You're getting off easy tonight. Oh, everybody's, I see a thumbs up there from Councillor Runge. Thank you for
I
that.
appreciate that, you guys.
Yep.
Thanks.
So now we will go to K items, which is city staff reports. Admin report 2525, district heating project manager Robinson to report.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. So the purpose of this report is to close off Phase 3 of the Heat Quesnel feasibility study and have the project shelf ready for future opportunities if the economic, political, and funding landscape become favorable for advancing the project. So I'll read briefly from the summary. Phase 3 of Heat Quesnel was completed in the summer of 2024, and Council received an update from Torchlight Bioresources and West Fraser Mills on July 30th, and that presentation is in the package. Phase 3 outlined a path forward for Quesnel to have district heating throughout North Quesnel, utilizing heat from Cariboo pulp and paper. This scenario involves acquiring a new turbine for Cariboo pulp and paper. Phase 4 of Heat Quesnel would involve costing for pipes for the system, setting up a utility to manage the system, working with community of engagement and partnerships for moving to the new system. Phase 4 will be put on hold due to current factors in the operating environment, such as relatively low natural gas prices, uncertain carbon pricing, and the political relationships with the USA and uncertain grant and funding environment. The estimated total cost for the project to advance is $63 million, with an annual operating maintenance cost of around $2.1 million. Without a significant capital investment from outside sources, the project is too expensive for the city to undertake at this time. However, if a time comes in the future when infrastructure development for economic development is deemed essential, the city, West Fraser, and other project partners will be ready to respond. And so this, it comes to Council as information only tonight.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions from Council? Okay, thank you for that. We certainly got this on file and in the bank, so to speak. I wish the money was in the bank, but I hope that something will develop further down the road. Okay, so thank you for that. The next item is item K2, Admin Report 2625, Quesnel Soccer Complex Security Cameras. Director Norburn to report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of this report is to obtain council approval for 4 existing cameras that were installed on the exterior of the soccer complex. So staff recently became aware that Quesnel Youth Soccer Association installed 4 cameras on the exterior of the soccer complex a number of years ago. The cameras were installed to address QISA's ongoing security and vandalism concerns. QISA was not aware of the city's video surveillance policy, and staff only recently became aware of the installation of these cameras. Once staff was aware of the presence of the cameras, QISA was notified of the policy. All video camera systems installed on city property must comply with the policy and be approved by council. If these cameras are approved by council, QYSA is committed that they will ensure that the camera system is compliant with the policy and that any expansion of the system is approved by council. The objective of having these cameras is to deter and prevent criminal and nuisance activity in a potential problem area and to enhance the safety of the building for both facility users and QYSA staff. The recommendation is that council approve the installation of 4 cameras on the exterior of the soccer complex in accordance with the city's video surveillance policy.
Okay, thank you for that. You're moving that, Councillor McKelvey?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
You are. And Councillor Runge is seconding. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see the hand. I was looking right at it. Go ahead, Councillor Runge.
Yeah, thank you very much. Going forward, I'm not actually sure if it has to be approved. Every camera update has to be approved by council. I think staff actually has the purview to do that, following our policy. I don't think that needs to come back to council. So I'm not sure where that sits. If it has to be a council decision, whenever they, if they want to go from 4 to 6 cameras, I think that they could most likely deal with staff without having to take our time for that, as long as they're following the policy as per the city's policy.
I think that this matter came forward because the city was unaware of the cameras, and we do have a surveillance camera policy, so staff is doing their due diligence by getting everything lined up on this.
No, I understand. For this one for sure, but going forward, if there's an update required, I don't think it should. It was stated that it would have to go to council first. I don't think that's necessary. Absolutely, for this one, we automatically want to go forward and just pass it. It was done. It's worked for them. So let's move on with that. But going forward, I think if they know and they approach staff, I think staff could actually make that decision. That's all I was saying. Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone from staff want to jump in here and clarify how this fits with the surveillance camera policy?
Sure. The current policy says any new system or expansion of a system has to be approved by council. So replacement cameras, we never come to council with, but expansions, that's what the policy currently says. Of course, we're currently looking through all the policies, so it's something to note for when we hit that policy.
So let's look at it. Thank you.
And sorry, Councillor Runge.
It's okay.
No, what I'm saying is
I didn't have the policy here with me, so that's okay. Thank you.
When you had your hand up, I thought you were seconding the motion, and I didn't realize that you had a question. But I should be accustomed to the fact that you've always got a question. So now we do have you seconding the motion. So are we good to vote on this one? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Now we have the council information package, and there is nothing that was asked to be brought forward. We do have one late item under correspondence, and that is M1 from the BC Association of Farmers Markets. I'm going to go to Rhea just to summarize this letter.
Letter from the BC Farmers Market Association. They're just outlining the impacts of the Farmers Market program and the coupon program to the community. Their ask is we currently do not have funding secured for the 2025 program season and beyond. We're asking for your support to secure ongoing funding for this valuable program. A letter to the BC Minister of Health, the Honourable Josie Osborne, would be a long way in demonstrating the importance of continued and expanded funding investment for the BC Farmers Market program.
So if we could have a motion on that, please. Councillor Goulet, Councillor McKelvey, are we all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you for that. All right, now, so Quesnel ambassadors, I'm going to use my executive privilege here and say let's go ahead with this ceremony without the sashes, and ambassadors and everyone, you just get used to the idea that sometimes things are beyond our control and they go sideways. In fact, I can remember a time when I took the town float. This was before we were even a city. Took the town float to Williams Lake for the Williams Lake Stampede, and we had Miss Quesnel sitting up on top waving. And we hit a pothole, and a wheel fell off, and actually the float disintegrated. Luckily, Miss Quesnel wasn't injured, but it's funny how things can kind of go sideways at a moment's notice. So what we're going to do then is we're going to have Coordinator Kara and Councillor Deb McKelvey come up and introduce the candidates or the ambassadors one by one, and pretend that you have a sash on, and you're going to, at least we have real roses, so we're halfway there. So if you ladies could come on up, I'm going to sit here and sort of take command of the microphone. Deb, right there. Thank you. Use that microphone there.
Oh, I don't have a microphone. Okay, so we're doing imaginary sashes tonight?
Yes.
Could I ask Danielle Melville to come forward? She's with Unifor 3018, her sponsor.
Do you want the sponsors up here too?
At the end, maybe?
Some of them are here.
Okay, yeah.
Hi. Congratulations. Now, I'm just going to put that pen somewhere really handy there. We usually put these on their sashes. That's too deep for office. Is this your first public time with that?
Yes.
Great. Here you go, Rick.
Thank you.
Okay. Lucia?
I'm just going to take a picture.
Oh, okay. Osea? And Osea's sponsor is Regency Chrysler. Hi, congratulations. Let's do this. Sashes are just pesky.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Okay, I'm looking for Grace Cassidy, and she's sponsored by Wizard Garage. Sorry.
Okay. There we go.
Hi, Grace. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to give you that, and I'm going to put a pin on you here. Is this your first official? Is this your first official engagement? Yeah, are you nervous? Holy smokes, I need my cheaters up here. Okay, thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Kayla Erickson. And her sponsor is William Lacey Real Estate. Hi, congratulations. Let's get a pin on there. Are you excited about the program? Very excited. Oh, I hope myself. Okay. And I'm bleeding. That's okay, I'm used to bleeding with thorns. It's okay. Finley Clausen, and she's sponsored by the Quesnel Community Living Association. Hi. Excited about the program? It's a wonderful program. I gotta say, those sashes are a lot easier to get pins on.
Yeah, that.
Congratulations.
Oh, the boutonnieres for Finley, sorry.
Sorry?
The boutonnieres for Finley.
Oh, yeah, that's, we're gonna, oh.
Yeah, you betcha.
did you want a picture with?
We can put the boutonniere on it.
Okay. Okay, so I'm looking for Dylan Cross. And his sponsor is Essential Business Services.
No, hers, yeah.
Oh, her,
Finley is
sorry.
That's what I was like, that's the mix up there, sorry.
What?
Finley gets the boutonniere. And
Oh,
Dylan
Finley,
is
I
the-
beg your
yeah.
pardon.
That's
I'm sorry, congratulations. There you go, let's get your pen. There we go. Okay.
Okay, would you like a group photo?
Sure.
I think,
Okay.
do we have Finley here?
Yeah, he's right there.
Oh, Finley,
Straight-
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
That's okay.
I gave you the wrong thing, hang on.
That's awesome.
Here we go. That's got a magnet on there, so, okay, there we go.
Perfect.
Now we're cooking with gas.
Awesome, thank you.
Perfect. And Carol, this is for you.
Oh, thank you very much.
So I wonder if we could just get everyone to arc around the front there, and we'll just get a group photo of the whole range of us.
Go on the other end.
Here, let's move this table out of the road.
Give me a hand. Oh, you got it.
There we go.
All righty.
We need to go this way more?
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you, everyone, and congratulations, and we'll hope that the sashes show up sometime.
They will be here.
I hope they're here in time for Billy Barker Days. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to take a moment to recognize Rose. Thank you, Rose, previous coordinator. Your contribution is genuinely appreciated. Thank you. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, I think that we are getting close to the end here. We have no bylaws on the docket for tonight, no new business, information and question period, no changes to upcoming meeting schedule, no changes to committee appointments, announcements and events. Anyone? Well, I have one. Sorry. My event is Go Canada Go. Gallery questions. Anyone? Boy, we're getting off easy tonight. So now I will look to a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Goulet, seconded by Councillor McKelvey, or Councillor Roodenburg, or Councillor Runge. We could have a four-way here. So thank you, everyone. We are duly adjourned.